subscribe to BBBox.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Good luck, brother.
Kia ora team, and welcome back to Big Boys Boxing. Hopefully this is working. New to working out the StreamYard thing, so forgive me if there's any technical hitches. We should be good. So it is fight week for this Junior Fa versus Joseph Parker fight. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, it's not a huge fight on the global scale, but it's big for New Zealand. It's not, I don't think it's ever happened that we've had two fighters inside the top 10 of a governing body. And I guess in the history of New Zealand boxing, this is one of the most important fights we've ever had, right? Now, David Higgins is saying that this is likely going to rival David Tuivasa Shane Cameron, which did over 500,000 buys for pay-per-view in New Zealand alone. I'm not so sure if it's actually going to rival that or not. Let's face it, of late, neither of these guys have been particularly exciting to watch. But it's an interesting fight. Now, the final press conference was yesterday. If you haven't seen that already, it is on the DAZN YouTube channel. Some interesting points in there, and I think the couple of comments both guys made and the trainers made, it's kind of giving away a game plan, but at the same time, I'm wondering if it's almost reverse psychology to a degree. Now, for anybody who might like to jump on and have a yarn about this fight, there is a StreamYard link right there in the chat pinned to the top. So feel free to hit that. Everybody is welcome. So Joseph is saying he wants a knockout in this fight. He's going to be aggressive. He thinks he's going to knock Junior Fa out in the first 6 rounds. In response, Junior doesn't say he's going to knock Joseph out. He's saying he knows how to not get hit. He expects Joseph to come out strong. He's happy to fight his way to a decision. Eugene Berriman, the assistant coach, has said that they want to get a lead and hang on to it. So it sounds like from Junior there's going to be a lot of moving, a lot of jab and grab. If Joe gets inside on him, he's going to tie him up, lean all over him. He will be slightly heavier, I imagine. But Joe's going to be expecting that as well. But like I say, there could be some reverse psychology involved with what these guys are saying. If Joe is going to come out hard and Junior is going to be apparently moving a lot, I expect Joe's going to be trying to go to the body a lot to try and slow Junior's movement down. Hook to the body, right hook to the body, left hand over the top, or left hook over the top, or left hooks to the body and right hand over the top, or even just hooks to the body, jabs to the body, stepping into the jab. Junior, I expect, would have been working a lot on counter-punching and timing because he isn't quite as fast as Joe. He does have some speed, though. So counter-punching when Joe's trying to launch himself in those first 6 rounds, would be a smart plan. But Eugene saying that they're planning on getting a lead and hanging on to it suggests to me there's going to be a lot of jabbing from Junior. So yeah, the fight itself is going to be interesting. I'm still deciding my prediction at this point. I think Joe's going to win. I'll say that much at this point. But whether it's going to be a knockout or it's going to be a points decision, I haven't decided yet. I'm going to wait until I see these guys at the weigh-in in a couple of days. I expect Joe's probably going to be around 235 pounds. I expect Junior's probably going to be around 240, slightly bigger guy. Joe's 6'4", with a 78-inch reach, even though BoxRec says 76. I know that's wrong because he was measured for the Anthony Joshua fight and for the Dillian White fight, and both of them said 78-inch reach. Junior has an 80-inch reach. He's 6'4", 6'5". Not much bigger, but he does have that reach advantage. And I think Junior probably does have a bit better feet. He moves his feet a little bit quicker. However, I don't think he's quite got the hands. I don't think he's got enough power to hurt Joe too badly. Joe's got a pretty decent chin. Junior's got a pretty decent chin himself. He has been knocked down by Dominic Gwynn, who does actually hit pretty hard. But Junior got up no problem from that fight and fought his way to a decision win, being quite defensively minded. And I think he's going to be extremely defensively minded, particularly in the first half of the fight against Joe. He knows Joe's quicker than him. He's been in the ring with him a couple of times, and he knows this is the opportunity of his lifetime. If he can beat Joseph Parker, then he's right in the mix, getting close to a title shot, possibly in line for a final eliminator to fight the winner of Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce. So interesting situation, man. Interesting indeed. Vader D in the house. Good to have you in, brother. Do you think Far's going to be recovered from his surgery? Well, there was some comments in the press conference about that. Mark Cadell, who's the manager of Junior Far, said that they've been keeping a close eye on the blood work and they were expecting his bloods to be back to 100% around now, but they got back to 100% 2 weeks ago. So there's pretty much no excuses. They still haven't divulged exactly what the health condition was, but by the sounds of it, it's the same condition that Junior had prior to, it'd be about 2 years ago now. He had a condition. He had to have a minor gut surgery, and he had very low iron levels. He was anemic, something to do with blood tests as well there. So it sounds like it's the same sort of thing. And Junior himself was saying he's feeling way better than he was prior to the postponement, December 12th last year. So I still find it interesting that they're not divulging the exact details of the health condition. They seem to think that Team Parker could somehow use this condition against him somehow. So it doesn't really explain much, but at the same time, just a moment, I've got a knock at the door. Apologies, team. Father-in-law just turned up. Is my audio not working? Yeah, it is working. Right, so yeah, some more job inquiries. But anyways, talking about this Parker v Far fights. Yeah, I think Junior will be fully recovered, but if he gets knocked out, then I expect them not divulging any details about this health condition he has is kind of a built-in excuse. He can fall back on it to say, oh, blah, blah, I wasn't quite 100%. I know I said I was before the fight, but I wasn't. So, yeah, man. As soon as I heard Mark Cadell say that we might divulge the details of the health condition after the fight, that rang bells in my head saying, this could be a built-in excuse. So, but both guys have had surgery. Both guys have been appearing in media over the last couple of days. Just finished watching this morning. Joseph was on the AM show, which is like a morning news show here in New Zealand. Starts at 6 and goes till 9. Joe was pretty much saying the same sort of thing that he was saying in the press conference. He wants that knockout in the first 6 rounds. He's going to come out hard. And even if he gets a win, it's about how you win in his situation. Particularly the last few fights haven't been that exciting. And like I was saying at the start of the stream, I don't think this fight's going to rival Tua v Cameron when it comes to pay-per-view buys, just because neither of these guys have been that exciting in their last few outings. Now, I haven't actually looked at how much the pay-per-view is. I think it's probably going to be $49 or $59 in New Zealand. Let me have a look. Spark Sport pay-per-view. Let's see if I can find it. New Zealand cricket. No, where's the pay-per-views? Here we go. Pay-per-view. What we got here? Parker v Far. Where's the price? Here we go. Saturday, 27th of February. Short homes, blah, blah, blah. There's the price down the bottom. $49.99 New Zealand dollars pay-per-view. I think it's also going to be pay-per-view in Australia, but in most other places around the world, it's going to be free. It'll be on DAZN in America, and not sure if it's going to be on DAZN or Sky Sport in the UK, but it'll be on one of them, and it'll be on your normal subscription-based platform. So I'm not going to be going to the fight this time. I did have a ticket prior to the postponement. I did cash it in after the postponement because I was a bit skeptical whether it was actually going to happen. And then I started thinking about the undercard and what's going to be on that. Is it going to be worth buying? I was hoping to see Hemia Hio on the card against somebody competitive. To a degree, they had to keep it local ish. I would have liked to have seen Hemia Hio versus a guy called Django Opelu, who was the Australian champion, who Justice Huni fought in his pro debut for the Australian title and beat. He ended up going the distance, and Apilo was landing quite a few punches of his own, not as much as Huni, obviously. But that would have been a cool, exciting fight. But we're getting Hemi Ahio versus Julius Long, who Hemi has fought before. So I'm just looking up the card to see if there's been any more additions. Just give me a sec here, team. Event. That's what we want. Oh, so we've got a bit longer list on the card now. We've got Parker and Faye as the main event, of course. We've got, how do you spell that? How do you say that? Ellery Melissa. Don't know who that is. This is a heavyweight fight. Okay. Ellery Melissa, who is 5-0-1, is going to be taking on Lani Daniels. Oh, Lani Daniels must be a woman's heavyweight fight. Okay, Lani Daniels, yeah, I've seen her fight before. Who else have we got on that? We've got a cruiserweight fight on here. We've got Nicholas Chilampas, 19-3. He's going to be taking on Panuve Hulu. Panuve Hulu is an exciting fighter to watch. That fight might be okay. Of course, like I said, we've got Hemi Ahio, who's 16-0, 6 foot heavyweight, taking on Julius Long, who's 18-24. He's a 7'2" monster, American born, but has been in New Zealand for about 15 years now. Hemi beat him on points last time around. It looks funny when these guys are in the ring because, like I said, Hemi's only 6 foot and Julius Long's 7'2". So there's a huge height and reach disparity there. So it's hard for Hemi to get him out of there. But, it is what it is. I was disappointed with that choice of opponent for Hemi. And that's at heavyweight, of course. We've also got the pro debut of David Naika, New Zealand's Commonwealth gold medalist at heavyweight in the amateurs. So it's cruiserweight in the pros. He's going to be taking on Jesse Mayo, who's 3-0 as a professional. Could be an interesting fight, but I expect David Naika should run away with that one with his volume. I must say I don't know anything about this Jesse Mayo or Mayo. I'm not sure how you say his last name. I'm probably butchering it. Could be interesting. We have a light heavyweight on the card as well. Jerome Pampalone, who I've seen fight, who's 2-0. He's going to be taking on AUTZ or ANTZ Ants Amputa. I'm not sure how you say that, man, either. This guy is debuting, so Jerome Pampalone should run away with that one as well. But it's a debut, and I don't know anything about the other guy, so we'll see what happens. We've got a super lightweight fighter on there as well. Richie Hadlow, who is 2-0. He'll be taking on a heady. Jeez, these names. Magoe, maybe, who's 2-3. And another light heavyweight fighter. Oh, we got John Parker's back. So he had a brain bleed a couple of years ago and hasn't been able to get into the ring. He was going to be fighting on the undercard of Parker v Joshua in the UK, and he got a CT scan as required before he flew out over there, and they found a brain bleed. So he hasn't been fighting. We did see, because he hadn't been fighting, he'd been having a few mental health issues and had an incident in an airport was it in Las Vegas or somewhere in America, and ended up getting arrested and deported because he punched somebody over at the airport. But good to see John Parker back. This is awesome news. I have noticed that he's been in the training videos, hitting the bag and so on and so forth on the Parker Box YouTube channel recently. So I thought he was just training to keep fit, but he is on the card. He's going to be fighting Igalani Taito, who's on debut. So John Parker is 5-0 at this stage, and like I said, that's going to be at light heavyweight. And that's also good because I think John was actually fighting at cruiserweight before, and he's a bit small for that. So, man, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that one. I hope it's on the televised portion of the card. We've got what's it got? Super heavyweight fight here. It must be an amateur fight. Must be some amateur belts on the card as well. So we've got Phil Talia, who is 1-1. He'll be taking on Nido Luta, who is 1-0. Interesting. Okay. See, I hadn't looked at this card for a few days, and there's quite a few additions now, so that is cool. We've got someone popped in here. Here we go. Added.
What's happening?
Welcome, Unrivaled. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Sound a bit knackered there, bud.
I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've literally got 5 minutes. I decided to spend my 5 minutes with you.
Oh, you're so cool. Thanks, bro.
How's it going? How's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So I was just looking through the card for this Parker v Far fight, and his little brother John Parker is making a return.
Okay.
At light heavyweight.
Have you seen John?
I've seen him in the training videos on the Parker Box site.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been training. I thought he was just doing it for fitness. I didn't know if he was allowed to fight again, because I don't know if you recall, they picked up a brain bleed when he was supposed to be on the Joshua Parker undercard, and he hasn't been fighting since.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since. Well, on the Parker what undercard?
Parker Joshua card.
Well, he's fought since. He fought last year. He came back last year. Yeah, he did. He fought in October, November, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Because I remember reading about it.
I vaguely remember something about that, actually, now that you mention it.
Who's he fighting? Who's he fighting?
He is fighting a guy called, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Igalani Taito.
I don't know who he is, but that sounds Samoan.
Yeah, it's either Samoan or Māori, the last name. And he's on debut, but this is at light heavyweight. I'm sure John used to fight at cruiser as well, so I think it's a better spot for John, because he's pretty small compared to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to look up how tall he is. I think he's only 6 foot. Oh, he's only 5'9". There you go.
Yeah, he's short. I know he fought catch weights, like cruiserweight catch weights. You know what I mean? Like he was not even a big cruiser. You know what I mean? He was a very small cruiser. So I know early on when I first put my eyes to him, he was fighting these catch weights at like 185, 190 pounds. You know, like the old cruiserweight limits.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be good to see John back at least. I was thinking about possibly buying a ticket again if the undercard got better, but that big letdown for me is Hemi Ahio fighting Julius Long. I really wanted to see him in a competitive fight.
He's rematching Julius Long.
Yeah, stink, eh?
It's kind of annoying because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to like your fight cards down there, right? For me, I need to be excited because for the most part, the quality just like it's not the same as like the main events out in the US or whatever, you know. And Hemi's very exciting, but I'd rather him being there with somebody tough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard earlier, I was thinking somebody like Django Apilu would have been an awesome action fight.
Oh, that's crazy. Like, to me, I'd actually be more interested in the Django than Parker Fat, to be honest with you, Jono, because that's just a war.
And I don't think it would have been that expensive for the promoters, too, to get him over, you know? So,
yeah.
I think it's Julius Long's probably getting the amount of money that Django would have fought for, you know?
Didn't Django fight Hooney?
Yeah, it was in Hooney's pro debut, and it was for the Australian heavyweight title. And Django's got a chin, and he's a pretty heavy-handed sort of fighter.
He's aggressive. So he's crazy.
Would have been a great war.
Who doesn't love a guy who gets punched in the face and sticks out his tongue and goes, ah!
Yeah. Fucking come on! He was yelling at Hooney.
He's like, if you want to try and get me out of here, I fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I love fighters like that. Proper hard man.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's not what we're getting.
We've got Julius Long, so expect a knockout, folks.
Well, he didn't knock him out last time.
True, but expected this time. Julius Long is shot.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Hemi's going to be trying to knock him out this time. It's a tough ask, though, with being over a foot shorter than the guy.
I get that. I get Long as like, what is he, 7 foot, 7'1"?
I think he's registered at 7'2". But yeah,
he's only been knocked out, what, 6 times or something? 8 times? 6, 7, 8.
Could actually look that up. Lucas Brown stopped him the second time, didn't he? Or something like that.
He stopped him twice, did he not?
Oh, he might have. I know he stopped him at least once.
He stopped them. Like, I know this guy's went the distance with big punches like Yizu and stuff, you know? But, yeah, come on.
He's been knocked out 8 times, has Julius Long.
Who was the first one to stop him? Was it Audley?
Oh, might have been when he was still in the States.
That's a long time ago now, that.
Yeah, I'm just
because I know Audley stopped them years, because I was on Audley big time, you know what I mean, as a kid, the Olympic gold medalist, and I know that they fought. I think it was on the Smith Rocky Martinez undercard.
Yeah, that was in 2002. It was
2 days before my birthday, I believe, the 20th of April. 2 days before your boy turned 9 years of age.
Your memory is pretty wicked, man. It was a second round stoppage. 2 second round out of 8, and the main event. Yeah,
I only remember that because it was 2 days before my birthday.
Yeah, it was Smith Martinez, the card it was on. So there you go. What a memory, man. Awesome. But yeah, he's, I think his last few fights have all been losses here. L. His last win was Bowie Tupou he beat. Okay. I thought Bowie would have beaten him. Hard case. That was back in 2016 too. So, wow. I didn't
The
think
last time he won was against Bowie Tupou.
Yeah, in 2016. And that was a split decision over 10. So,
Man,
gives you
can you imagine how heavy they both were for that fight? Holy crap! Because Bowie's a big bullocks.
he is.
Like he's short, but he's like heavy. He's always in that. I think the lightest I ever seen him, that I seen him, was against Jennings, and that was frightening.
Wow. Bowie Tupou was 297 for that fight. And Julius Long was 283. So the 7-foot monster was bigger. Wasn't as heavy. That's wicked.
As the 6'3" dude, right?
Yeah.
6'2", 6'3", somewhere. Jesus Christ, Bowie, what are you doing, man? Look, let's wrap the Hemi Julius Long thing up. Hemi should be going for the knockout. Julius Long, he's old, very old now. He's 43 years of age. He may do enough to survive by clenching and using his jab, but Hemi should be going for the knockout. Look to break him down to the body and come up over top.
Yeah, man. Yep. And what's Julius? He's getting pretty old now too. He's like 43 or something. Where's his age?
I think he's 43, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you need to remember, like, I brought up his first knockout defeat. The first knockout defeat of his career, like, was in 2002, John.
Yeah. Crazy, eh? Crazy.
Like, I was a 9-year-old. I've known who Julius Long is since I was a child. I've got a child now, and I'm 27.
Yeah, I remember seeing him for the first time. It might have been after Audley Harrison when he was still in America. And thought, Jesus, this guy, he's huge. If he can box, he's going to be a problem. But then he started fighting and it was like, oh, okay. He's not going far. It's not going to be a value ever or anything like that.
I only seen that because of the Audley fight. And not only because of the Audley fight, but because of who Liam was fighting.
Yeah.
Not Liam, Stephen Smith was fighting.
Stephen, yeah.
He was fighting. Like, that was big because back in you'll know this as well as anyone, Jono. Back in those days, boxing, we were a lot more naive to building up people and stuff like that. So just the name Rocky in your name meant something.
It did, yeah.
It actually really did. Just being named Rocky. Rocky Martinez was a good fighter though, and they were really bigging up him. Really bigging up him versus Stephen Smith.
Yeah. So the main event, there's been a bit of media coverage here in New Zealand the last couple of days. I don't know if you've seen the final press conference that came out on DAZN yesterday.
I have not. I'm watching it now, like in the next hour or two, because I think it's on my DAZN now because we got rights finally. Yep. So we have rights for here. Yes. That'll be some early morning viewing for me, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., right, Jenna? Around there.
We're still in daylight saving here. It'll be about 10 o'clock at night here, so I think that's like 9 a.m. over there or something like that.
Well, right now it's 9 p.m. for me. What time is it for you?
It is 10:09 here, so yeah, it'll be.
So you're 13 hours ahead of me. So, 9 a.m.
Yeah, it's roundabout.
Oh, that's brilliant! I'll wake up at 8:30, grab a cup of tea or coffee, have a sandwich, sit down, and go back to sleep after the fight.
If not during, it might be a bit boring. I mean, it's David Higgins has been going on about this being a mega fight. It's going to rival the biggest pay-per-view success here in New Zealand with boxing, which was Shane Cameron versus David Tua. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near because neither of these guys have been that exciting in their last few fights. So,
I'll be on. I know Parker's a big name, and I don't live down there, but maybe it's just me. I wouldn't assume his name is as big as David Tua's was.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I mean, he's the only heavyweight world champion New Zealand born heavyweight champion that we've ever had. And he is the face of boxing down here in New Zealand, but nobody puts him in the same bracket as David Tua.
Tua was he was a phenomenon down there, wasn't he?
He was huge phenomenon down here. Still is, even though he's over 400 pounds now. If anyone sees him, everybody recognizes him. And
if David Tua came out of retirement to fight Joseph Parker, it would do more numbers than Joseph Parker can do.
Yeah, huge. It would probably get close to 1 million pay-per-views in New Zealand alone, and we've only got 5 million people here. So, gives you an idea of how popular David Tua is or was.
Or at least famous.
Yeah. So Joe's coming out and saying he's going for the knockout in the first 6 rounds. Junior is saying he wants to get a lead in the first 6 and hang on to it. If he hurts,
Christ.
Yeah. So that says to me, jab and grab.
Junior's going in there to bar it up. Joseph, don't let him beat the crap out of him, man. Grow them balls tonight.
Night. Another interesting thing he said is he's pretty positive that he's going to win, but it's going to be about how he wins. He needs to get some excitement back in his game. So
he said that a couple times, though, didn't he?
He has.
Although I'll give it to him on the Winters fight. He said, everybody thinks I'm going to win, but it's not just about winning. I need to entertain. And to be honest, I was entertained.
Yeah, at the same time, he was trying a few different things in there. Some of them weren't working. Maybe that contributed to Winters lasting a bit longer, but it was a little bit more entertaining than too much defensively minded boxing and strategic pot shotting. So,
look, Parker's a phenomenally talented boxer, and he's a very good outboxer, right? But he has 2 gifts that every fighter wishes they were blessed with.
Chin and power.
Never mind the power. The hand speed.
Oh, sorry, speed. That's what I meant. Sorry.
The hand speed. He has power, but he has an ironclad chin practically. And he's either got the second or he's in the top 3 fastest hands at heavyweight. Yeah. Him, Ruiz, and Usyk, maybe.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I think Mr. Boxing today is in the house. Good to have you in, brother. He says he's got Parker by UD. I'm still undecided whether I've got Parker by a stoppage or UD. I think Parker's going to win, but depending on what Junior looks like in those first couple of rounds, Junior might be able to, if he can get out of the first 6 with a lead, he might be able to box his way to a unanimous decision. Do you think he has much chance of doing that?
I'll be honest, it really depends on the work rate of Parker. The whole outcome comes down to what Parker does to me. Junior can tie him up all he wants, but if Parker bullies him, he can't do that, So,
no.
I put everything in this fight down to Parker. If Fa wins, it's because of Parker not working. If Junior goes the distance, maybe you could say it was down to Junior, but I'd say it's also down to Parker just not putting it on him. I think he gets him out of there when he wants if he really goes for it. I think Junior's stamina is terrible.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of speculation lingering about this health issue that they've undisclosed. And
the anemia, right?
Well, it sounds like it. They're saying in the press conference that he got his bloods back to 100% 2 weeks ago, and there's no excuses now. So it sounds a lot like that previous health condition with anemia that he had before.
Yeah. So, shout out to Mr. Boxing today, by the way.
Indeed. Where you go?
Yeah. He just asked, what's your thoughts about Michael Hunter versus Hrgovic being ordered by the IBF? Hunter says Charles Martin turned it down. What's your thoughts, Charles?
I like the fight. Hunter versus Hrgovic. It's one that many of us have been talking about for a little while. Why can't it happen? Why can't it happen? So I'm glad the IBF stepped in and made it happen. Charles Martin turning it down. Which fighter was he ordered to face? Was it Hunter or Hrgovic?
Hunter.
It was Hunter. Okay. Yeah. He obviously thinks Hunter's a bit too tricky for him. I think. He's on a comeback trail. So, if he didn't want that smoke, then he didn't want that smoke. Is Martin really scheduled to maybe face Wilder? A better payday, maybe?
That's where I'm looking at this. I think Martin will be Wilder's comeback if Wilder does come back, of course. So I think he's holding out for that payday rather than an IBF eliminator with Michael Hunter, where he won't get much money and he could lose that fight. Honestly, Hunter's an extremely good fighter. I'd favour him over Martin. Obviously, I think a lot of people would. As far as Hrgovic versus Charles versus Hunter goes, I'm down. I've been down. It's a fight I want to see. It's a fight we, the people, want. Because how many IBFs throughout the different divisions, Jonos, do we get like terrible mandatories? You know what I mean? Even to Martin versus Glasgow, that was terrible. This is a proper one because I've no problem with either guy being a potential challenger to a world title.
Yeah.
This is the proving grounds for Hrgovic and Michael Hunter. He deserves a shot as much as anybody, just like Vivek and White did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just because he doesn't have a big promoter behind him anymore shouldn't take away his opportunities. So, good on the IBF for doing this. Big ups.
Yeah.
And I'd have to have a serious think about who I might favour in that fight. It's a tough fight for both guys.
I'm high on both. So that's my number one rated prospect and a guy who you've heard me give massive plaudits to, Jono and Hunter. I think he's one of the most dangerous fighters to fight against because there's not much money there and he's dangerous as hell. He has power, fast hands, and he can box really well.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mr. Boxing today says, if Martin has turned down that fight against Hunter, then he's probably the favourite to fight Wilder in his next fight, assuming Wilder isn't successful with his arbitration or mediation or whatever the hell's going on with him and Fury. So,
well, from what we know, mediation ended. Arbitration was threatened, but they haven't gone through with it yet.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder, is there any detail about when that fight has to happen by? Do you know anything about that, Mr. Boxing today?
I have no idea. He might know. He might have a bit of info.
I haven't even looked at the news today yet. I was pretty much just watched Joseph Parker on the AM show here in New Zealand, seeing what he would say. He was on a comedy show after the news last night, so they're cranking the media over here, trying to boost it. Haven't seen much of Junior Farr around besides the press conference and a couple of little snippets from the conference on the news.
Junior's not really talkative, though, is he?
No, he's pretty hard to get more than 2 words out of. So,
doesn't really help. Doesn't really help. Very quiet guy, keeps to himself predominantly. So
wherever he is on TV, he's always got Eugene Behrman with him, who's got a good mouth on him. He kind of amps it up a bit. For those of you who don't know who Eugene Behrman is, he's just an assistant coach to Junior, but he's Israel Adesanya and Dan Hooker's primary coach for MMA. So,
but he's got a great mouthpiece on him.
He does. He does. So also currently they're having some issues with determining the officials for the fight. The WBO had given a list of the 3 judges that they wanted. It just so happens that all 3 of them were from Christchurch, where Kevin Barry comes from. And here in New Zealand, the Barry family is a major influence on boxing. So Eugene Behrman and Mark Cadell didn't want certain judges. They're still arguing over it a little bit, but Berman's words were, "We don't want one of Kevin's mates from the pub being one of the judges."
Fair.
Fair enough to a degree, but at the same time, the manager of Junior Far comes from Christchurch and went to the same school as Kevin Barry. So, however, there's not the influence in boxing that the Barry family have. So we should find out in the next day or so who the judges are going to be. I haven't checked today, so I better have a look.
In the chat, Joseph asks, "Hey, fellas, so it's Hemi on that undercard. What Mr. Boxing Today 2 says? He says, I believe against Julius Long in a rematch." Yeah, he's fighting Julius Long.
Yeah, Julius Long rematch. The other one worth looking at on the card, I think, is definitely Joseph Parker's little brother is going to be fighting at light heavyweight. He's fun to watch as well. So there's a couple of fights worth looking at. There's David Naik is having his pro debut on there against the 3-0 guy at cruiserweight as well. So
I'll be watching out for David.
Yeah, see how he goes. At this stage, I'm not that high on Naika as a pro. He still has that high volume style like an amateur, but to be fair, he's only doing this because the Olympics have been postponed. He's still eligible to go to the Olympics. So
yeah, so there's no point in him changing too much.
Exactly. But he has been
that's not his primary goal.
Yeah. But he has been in there with Joe and sparring as well. So, and he has been in there in the past with Joe sparring as well. So he's also sparred Junior Far as well in the past. So there was a bit of controversy about who was going to get David Naika. Obviously, Team Parker were paying a bit better to get him. And Joe's got that world level experience that Naika can feed off as well. So
yeah,
makes sense.
I'm very much waiting to see. Very much waiting to see the bracket for the Olympics, because I think the bracket will help decide like the medals. You know what I mean?
Indeed. I hope Justice Honey and Bakimir Jalilov aren't on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the gold silver match right there. No offense to the guys like Fraser Clark and that, but that's the gold medal match right there. Them two.
It is. Yeah. I think Honey's the only one who's got a chance of beating Jalilov, to be honest, but they have fought in the past and Jalilov's beaten him, eh?
Yeah, but Hooney's getting better and better and better every month.
I agree.
But also, I think I think Fraser can actually beat Jalilov. I think he'll struggle more with Hooney. Just because Fraser represents the problems Jalilov doesn't like, being able to come from low and up to high and get up and under you and maul you and brawl and stuff. And Jalilov likes distance. Fraser's good at cutting distance. So
yeah. Whereas Hooney's okay to brawl as well as box, so that
he looks to box a bit more, so it favors Jalilov a little more. So it's weird. Hooney's better at keeping distance though than Jalilov is. He's got faster feet.
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't think we have a confirmed date for the Olympics yet, do we?
No.
So
I just want that shit to be tied up soon because I want to make my videos, you know?
Yeah, and get these guys who are dropping between amateur and pro, get their amateur goals out of the way so they can move into pro and do it full time, and we can get a good idea how they're going to go as professionals.
Exactly. So we actually can, actually watch them do some things. John.
Yeah.
Because right now they can't really fight any major opposition or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, fair play to Justice, though. Well, to Hooney anyway, because on debut, man, a 10-rounder against Django and you stop him and you become the Aussie champion, that's serious. It's not a joke.
Yeah. See, Justice Honey is back in action on April 10th. I thought he was not fighting because he was injured or something. Or am I thinking of Dempsey McKean's maybe injured? I can't remember. One of them.
Oh, he's fighting Jack Barris? Okay.
Yeah. Who is that? I have to look that up.
Jack Morris is the dude who he's been around. He's been around. Like, I think no, he's not. I don't know who he is, man. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Okay. I'm looking him up. I imagine he is a
He's 2-0.
Okay.
Both
Justice
of us
Honey's
went
had
the
a
distance.
Honey's had another fight since Django. I didn't realize.
Yeah, against Fosa. I covered that on my channel.
Okay. Okay, and he was unbeaten 3-0 at the time too.
No,
All right.
stopped in the fourth.
Wow. Okay, I missed that one. Yeah, so this 2-0 guy.
Went the distance with both of his opponents, one of them, Clarence Tillman.
Okay. Yeah, that should be a pretty much a walk in the park for Justice then, shouldn't it?
Because I know who Clarence is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's only ranked 23 out of 41 in Australia. So, wow. He must have just needed a run out. And the dude's got no stats for height and reach on BoxRec, so.
There's not really many guys you can really put Hooney in there with, like, that are ranked higher than him, you know what I mean? There's only McKean and Lucas, according to BoxRec.
Yeah.
So.
Apparently, Lucas Brown wants that smoke with Dempsey McKean again now.
Lucas wants smoke with anybody where he can get some money. He needs money. He's broke as hell.
Bouncers, being a bouncer ain't paying well enough.
He's called out everybody, man.
Yeah, well, he's kind of gone back on his word that he'll never fight in Australia again either, too. So.
Sure, didn't he call out Tyson Fury saying everybody knows that I can sleep Fury with one punch? Well, they didn't, so what the hell are you going?
Oh, he's a comedian now too. Holy McMoley.
Fury would kill him.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
He's lucky he got through Kamil Sokolovsky with the decision, you know what I mean? He lost that in Moyle.
Okay. All right, Mr. Boxing today is going to put the post up in his community tab, so after the stream you can always shoot over and check it out. Thanks for that, Mr. Boxing. Appreciate it. We'll be in the Gold Coast. Okay. Man, I hope that's not the main event, because that's...
Let's go, Hooney.
Yeah, let's go, Hooney. See if we can get him in the first round, I guess.
I like Justice.
I
really like him. I just hope he doesn't fall into that same thing, because he kind of reminds me of Joe, bro.
He does. He fights a lot like him, but possibly he's a better inside fighter.
Maybe. I just hope he has that dog, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope he has it, because if he starts just becoming an outboxer, I'm gonna get pissed off, man.
Yeah. Well, he seemed to have it in the later rounds against Django. So, but at the same time, those guys have sparred thousands of rounds and they know each other. So it looked to me like Hindi was just conserving his stamina, doing enough to win the rounds, and then decide to pour it on and get him out of there. So
the thing about Justice, though, is like how young he is. He's nowhere near his man strength. He's 21.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
It's like him and Jared Anderson, like 6-7 years down the line, it makes you go, whoo!
Yeah. It's going to be, well, hopefully, if they do everything right, there's going to be some great heavyweights to watch in the next few years. I think Fabio Wardley's another one you can throw in that sort of bracket as well.
And Jalalov.
And who knows at this stage, but there's many coming through. There's Johnny Fisher as well, looked okay the other day.
Apparently, according to BoxRec, Hooney's at the bottom of this card. Connor Wallace, there's 2 Aussie title fights, one at light heavy, one at welter. And then you've got Ben Mahoney taking on Chris George.
Okay. I'm just trying to bring up the event myself. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 fights on the card. There's probably more to come because it's a fair way away yet. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get a Lucas Brown and Dempsey McKean on there.
That would be the main event, wouldn't it?
I think so, yeah.
There's no way they'd be an undercard to Ben Mahoney.
No. Quite often, though, BoxRec have the order all mixed up on there sometimes. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
But just in a 6-rounder, so it's not for his title.
Okay. Interesting. Well, cool. So, pretty much just waiting for weigh-in day for this Parker v. Farr and the rest of the fights on the card. I don't think there'll be any more to add to the card. There's a fair few fights on there. And a reminder to those in other parts of the world, it will probably be on Friday where you are. If you're in the States or in the UK, it will be on Friday, not Saturday. So if you want to watch
it'll be Saturday morning in the UK, I believe. Because if it's 10 p.m. for you, it will be 9 a.m. UK. So essentially, look out for the time that's going to be on. Like, guys, so wake up at about 8 a.m. UK time, and you should be fine. Yeah.
It will be like 4 or 5 in the morning in the States, though, on Friday.
Yeah, and that's the earliest. Like, if it's 9 a.m. for me, it'll be 4 a.m. Eastern Standard. It'll be 3 a.m. Central, 2 a.m. Mountain Time, and 1 a.m. for the Pacific Coasters.
Yeah.
Saturday.
I wonder how long it's going to be before we're going to get to see Justice Honey and Dempsey McKean fight. Oh, that's a reminder, Mr. Boxing today. That's right. The fight between Lucas Brown and Paul Gallen is almost made, I saw. So that could be the fight on that Gold Coast card that might headline.
Let's go, Gallen.
Yeah. Shut up the big burnt out bouncer. Shut him up good. But we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much us for today. I'll probably do another stream the night before, after the weigh-in, to discuss what we've seen on the weigh-in for all the fights on the card, all the ones of interest anyway. Any last words before we sign out there, Unrivaled?
A pleasure being on. Thanks for having me on. I hope everybody enjoys the card on the weekend. And yeah, shout out to the best heavyweight fighting this weekend. Big up to the big China man, Zhili Zhang.
Good on you, man. Who was he fighting? I've forgotten.
Jerry Forrest.
That's right. Yeah.
Shout out to the boogeyman, Jerry Forrest. Hergovich ducked him.
You reckon? There's no money in it for him. So
I say that to troll old dog all the time.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, well, that's worth a look as well. That fight, where's it going to be? Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
It's on the Canelo undercard, Canelo Yildirim undercard. There's flyweight action on there too. Great fight between Julio Cesar Martinez, the very aggressive Mexican guy. He's taken on McWilliams Arroyo. So that should be a decent fight for the little weight guys if anybody's interested.
All right, so that will be on Sunday afternoon, New Zealand time. Definitely worth a look. So tune in. And that is us for today. Appreciate you coming in, Mark. And everybody in the chat as well. Mr. Boxing Today, Joseph. Saw Adam Fahey in here earlier, I think, as well. Who else have we got? And the rest of my chat's disappeared. Oh, no, there it is. Vader D was in as well. Thanks for coming in, man. Aussie, good to see you. And that was everybody. So thanks for popping in, everybody. Appreciate. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you all next time. This is Big Boys Boxing and Unrivaled Boxing Talk. We are out. See you.